Hi, Maeve. Thanks for joining us today. Tell us about
Thank you for
yourself.
having me.
You're very welcome. Tell us about yourself and your story and how you got started.
So I'm Maeve and I'm the Metal Masseuse. I do aromatherapy and soon to be Reiki, Indian head massage, all in stone. And how I got started. Um, I, I mean, going right back, I suppose I always blame my mum in a good way. She always had bottles of essential oils lying around the house in the 90s. And I was always really, really taken with it. I loved mixing lotions and potions, as she always calls it. So I would just get like a moisturizer and dunk a load of essential oils in and see what happened. And then I suppose that I suppose really what it was for me was when I was a teenager, I ended up with really bad skin, bad like kind of teenage acne. And, I tried absolutely everything in order to kind of try and, you're using Clearasil and all this rubbish, and it's just doing more damage to your skin. And so even at that early age, I suppose it kind of was turning me on to a more natural way of doing things. So again, going back to the essential oils, and again through skipping through again throughout lockdown, we obviously had a lot of time on our hands, and so I did a lot of like playing about with formulating and things like that. Again, just trying to make my own kind of skincare, um, and from there I was like, "Do you know what? I think I should probably go and get certified in this stuff because it was all just guesswork." So even before I went and got my certification as an aromatherapist, as a massage therapist, um, I had a lot of background in kind of homemade lotions and potions again. And that's what I actually went into it for. I wanted to formulate products. The massage side of it for me at the time was kind of just a byproduct. I wasn't that bothered with it. And then started training in it and I absolutely loved it. And then here I am. It's just funny where it takes you when you actually start doing these things, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's that journey as well, isn't it? Because you're saying it's something that started in your teenage years, that
Hmm.
kind of formulate it, but being around those essential oils has then led you to create a business out of it, which is you wouldn't did you foresee that from when you were younger, or was it just something that you were passionate about?
I think I think I did. Actually, I do think I did. But maybe not in the form that it is now. And again, it's always that sort of that journey, isn't it? So you think it's going to be one thing and it's another. But to be honest, I didn't know how I was ever going to sort of get there. And again, that's just life, isn't it? You don't know how you're going to get there, but you've got to just start making the steps, I suppose, to try. Um, and even when I was getting certified, I was thinking, right, well, how am I going to go from, you know, working full time elsewhere, doing this course in the evenings, and then that transition into will I actually be able to work for myself after that? And it was actually just a series of kind of really fortunate events that led me to being where I am now. And I suppose just not letting it, because I feel like I could have let it maybe just go by the by, do the course, and then you kind of just forget about it because you're not sure what actions to actually take with it. Um, but yeah, I would say ultimately that yes, maybe this is always kind of what I wanted to do. But it's only as you start approaching maybe like 40 that you think, I've got to do this now. It's now or never, and it's never too late. But you sort of, there's a lot going around on social media at the moment about your perimenopausal self is actually just your 15-year-old self coming back. And I'm like, this is so true.
With more fast.
Yeah, yeah, and actually liking it and enjoying it this
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
you know.
And I think it is that though, isn't it? Because it's like I think it's not even about caring less. It's just being more certain and standing in your power a little bit more. Thinking, you know what? I've got this idea, whether it's business, personal, or whichever, and giving yourself permission to do it. Even though we
Yeah.
don't need permission, but it's almost like, you know what? whether it feels like it's the time that's ticking away, or perimenopause, or just the fact that you're just standing in your power and saying, you know what, this is something that I want to pursue, which is really, it's quite empowering when you see other people doing it and taking
Hugely.
initiative as well, because for all too long people do stay in that full-time career job. So how was that for you when you stepped out of the full-time career into self-employment and your own kind of path? How did that come about?
Well, it was terrifying. I'm not going to lie. It came about, I actually got made redundant. And so I was quite sad about that. And we had a lovely team where I worked and things like that. But the timing of it couldn't have actually been more perfect for me, the way it worked. And so saying that about, taking that next step, I'd like to think that I would, and I think that I would have. However, I was kind of pushed and I was like, right, well, I'm being made redundant here. Like, I don't want to go and get another job. So I'm going to just try and make this work. And as I said, the timing of it was actually perfect. And it gave me time pre redundancy to actually sort of prepare a wee bit for it as well. Um, so yeah, I was just, there was no way that I wanted to go and get another job after that. And stepping into it, it was just after Christmas, so it was like January last year, and I was just going into this whole brand new year, and I was like, what? I don't even know what this is going to look like. It really is the unknown. But and I am the sort of person, and that's probably why it took me so long to actually get to this point. But not in a regretful way, um, because I do like to plan, and I like to know what's in front of me. And so in my mind, I would think, I don't know what this is going to be like. And so I can't do it. Or I don't know everything about it. So I can't do it. It it's very limiting. And I realize now that actually you've just got to go do it and you figure things out along the way. And again, that's just what you do in life, isn't it? But I think a lot of us, and especially me, I was really trying to protect myself by not putting myself out there at all.
And that's just what I was going to say. It's that safety. It's finding that safety, and
100%.
safety. And that's something that I've learned recently, is that safety is, well, your need for control is around the safety and you're feeling safe.
Yeah.
So that's quite a usual protective mechanism.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, yeah, because, yeah, full-time job, it was really safe, but it was fulfilling to a point, but not, it was fulfilling because of the work it was. It wasn't fulfilling, I suppose, personally for me in a way. But yeah, and it's all just about our brains trying to protect us. And and ultimately sometimes I think, right, if I think of it in those really kind of, I don't know, like physiological, technical way, it's like, okay, it's just doing that because it just wants to keep me safe, but it doesn't know. So just ignore it.
That is a really good way. That's really helped me over the last few weeks, is kind of looking at it in terms of that. So I reacted like that because I felt a little unsafe or a little uncertain. And that kind of, in some respects, rational approach helps then categorize it. So you are able to take that next step, or
Yeah.
why you reacted that certain way. It is really good. It's good to take that on board as well.
And I think, yeah, as you said, it's like looking at it rationally, it's taking that step back
Mm.
to be able to almost like observe your thoughts,
Yeah.
isn't it? And then go, yeah, we can switch that, or it doesn't matter. So
Mm.
what? you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's crazy. And I think because a lot of the time, a lot of our behavior is learned
Hmm.
along the way. And as we're stepping into midlife with that new kind of confidence or self-assurance, or taking that next step in business, it is realizing that we've got a little more control than what we think, in some
Hmm.
respects, as in, like, we can be a little more kind of stepping into, or stepping on that parapet, ready to take that leap of faith, because we're quite savvy as well. So
Yeah, we're so adaptable.
Yeah.
Like humans are genuinely like so
Mm,
adaptable.
mm,
Otherwise, we wouldn't still be
mm.
here. And actually, a lot of the dangers, they're not, the imminent dangers that our brain thinks they are, like the tiger coming to attack us, but our brain still acts in that way, doesn't it? Like any little small worry or anxiety, our brain literally does react in that same manner. So yeah, it's just kind of talking it down,
Yeah.
telling it to pipe down a bit sometimes.
It's when you create like another persona for it or a name. I've heard people that refer to it as like, and then like, all right, then I don't know, Linda. Back over there, Linda. It's time for Marie to take charge.
Not today, Linda. Thank you.
Nothing against
But I
anyone
do,
called
and I
Linda.
think having a laugh out of it actually, because you can see
Yeah.
how ridiculous it all is, really. So I think that's really, really. I'm going to so do that now, Linda.
In my hair. It was like I don't even think I've even thought of that before. But that'd be a way of doing it.
It's a great
Just a
idea.
character. Yeah, just to kind of like keep things in check a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I just feel like if we don't, like, nobody'd ever do anything.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, maybe like as women as well, I feel like we're probably socialized to be a bit more
Hmm.
careful.
Hmm.
And so, which is why it's all like men who are in these ridiculous top positions, um, and doing crazy things with it.
That's a whole other
Because
episode.
I know, yeah, let's not even go there. But I do, because we are kind of taught to be so much more careful and,
Mhm.
oh, it isn't safe. So, just again, just hold yourself back. And so it's just all that. I think, like, again, when you get to the, kind of that midlife point, you kind of just think, no, like, I'm not going to take that anymore. Um, but yeah, it is really interesting because it's really interesting sort of observing, yes, your mind and the thoughts and all the rest of it, but also just observing how your own attitudes change. And you think, yeah, like 10 years ago, I absolutely wouldn't have done that. But yeah, here I am just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And it's being okay with that as well. Because sometimes we
Yeah.
can beat ourselves again, we can beat ourselves up about that, or thinking that our lives should be on a certain trajectory. And if we haven't got X, Y, and Z, then this means that. And again, I suppose being a woman is such a privilege and an honor that
Hmm.
sometimes it can not be our own worst enemy, but we can do that ourselves. But when we pit ourselves against each other people as well, that then adds more doubt to what we can,
Yeah,
how we can
that's
place
huge.
limits on ourselves.
Yeah, for that reason, I follow very few kind of like other massage accounts or anything like that, because, and it's not that I don't want to see, what other people are. Well, it kind of is actually, because you end up in that compare and despair. And I don't think it's good. I just think, like, stay in your own lane, do your thing, and then other people can't derail you, even without meaning to.
Yeah,
It's completely
yeah.
unintended. They don't know what you're, thinking about them. Or if you're thinking, oh, that's much better than what I'm doing,
Mm,
it's
mm.
it's a fine line between like inspiration and then that compare and despair, which I think with
Compare and
social media
despair.
and things at the minute, it's terrifying.
I've not heard that term, compare and despair, but
Mm.
I suppose that it is. I think even like you're saying, with my own personal algorithm, not just social media, it has changed over the years of
Hmm.
who I'm engaged with and making more of those. And I think going into this year, especially, being more intentional about who I'm spending time with, as well as carefully creating my own algorithm, because it's something that we've only got a finite amount of time, haven't we,
Yeah.
ultimately? And who we choose to allow into our energy field is really important. And I think, again, coming into this point in midlife, being more certain about that and being okay if it doesn't fit what's deemed as socially acceptable or normal,
Hmm.
for want of a better word. And I think that's again becoming mid at this point, this midpoint in life. Okay, how do I want to live the rest of my life? And whether that's setting up your own business, leaving a full-time job. It's interesting that you mentioned about redundancy, because I took redundancy. It was voluntary redundancy. I took that
I didn't
2019.
realize.
Yeah, 2019 it was. And it came up in the organization where I worked. I was like, mm, I'll just put in for it and see. I probably won't get it. Like, here you go, Marie. You've been
You've done
awarded.
it.
And I was like, okay, so it was either a case of me staying in that job. I'd been in that job for 15 years, in one job for 15 years, in the organization for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought if I didn't go, I would be there for another 15 years because it was safe. It was familiar. I knew what to expect. Although the organization had changed several times, I was still doing, in fact, the same job. And I took that decision. I thought, well, I'll go, I'll retrain. What is it that I really want to do? And at that time, I considered becoming a fitness instructor because, I love my
I
fitness.
could see that, yeah.
But it didn't fit with my life because obviously the girls were so much younger then. So I thought, okay, what should I do? And that's when I retrained with Exhale to become an Exhale instructor. But it was
Mm-hmm.
the catalyst of redundancy that set me on this path.
Yeah.
So it
Would
does.
we have taken that decision had that not happened?
No,
Because
absolutely
then
not.
it would have been our fault if it didn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, right, that pressure's off now because I've not
Mm,
left the job. It
yeah.
happened.
Yeah. And it
So
was like,
yeah, and it is still that element of like safety, isn't it? But
yeah,
yeah,
and it
it is
is.
mad. And like, yeah, I bet you would never change that.
Absolutely not. And now I can't believe I stayed in the job for 15 years. I'm just like, how come I stayed for so long? But I did. I loved the job. The job wasn't the problem. I did love the job.
Mhm.
I enjoyed what I did. Like you said, I was fulfilled doing the job. But ultimately, I've always thought there was something more to life.
Yeah.
Always something more. I didn't know what that more was. And
Mhm.
even now it's like you can't touch it, you can't feel it, but you know that there's something more.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's exactly it. And it was, I don't know how to describe it. It was just, I sort of felt sometimes when I would go into work, I had like my work self, and then I had like my weird little self that loved all the weird stuff. Whereas now I can go into work and it all marries up.
Do your whole self. That's interesting because even when I was in my old job, I had a work wardrobe and outside work wardrobe. Whereas now, obviously, I mean, I work part time in the school. It all into I don't have separate work and outside. I am just me, and I'll turn up as me.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and that's interesting. You saying that you can be your full self then.
Yeah, because yeah, you do because we all mask to an extent,
Mhm,
don't we? And
mhm,
I
mhm,
think that again, I think that's just human, and that's just a way of like interacting.
mhm,
There's nothing wrong with it, but
mhm.
I think when it really starts separating you in yourself,
Yeah,
that's when it sort of maybe becomes like a problem. But yeah, it is funny that because I mean, I had a unintentional work uniform that it was just my own clothes, but it was like, well, if I wear these to work, I won't be wearing these elsewhere now.
yeah,
It's just a funny thing. It is that separation. Whereas now, like I get to go in and speak to people about all the stuff that I would have been constantly just thinking about
yeah.
myself anyway. So yeah, it's just marrying that up and feeling like actually it's all coming to a place where it's supposed to be now,
Mm,
you
mm.
know.
And it is. It's again. It's sitting in that power, isn't it? And I mean, a lot of the time it's like grounding yourself as well within that because it can seem so big and a little unsettling as well. So how do you come back to yourself within all of that?
So it's funny that you mentioned grounding. So that's my word for the year this
Ooh.
year. So that's really um, because last year when I did leave the job and well when it closed and I went out on my own, um, I remember feeling really untethered,
Mm,
and that's the best way I can describe it because I was Maeve from the charity shop. And that's how like everyone knew me. And then I remember the day after the shop closed and I'd be walking down the street and I was like, I don't have anywhere to go. It was weird. It was
mm,
really, really weird. And
mm,
I couldn't like in a way I couldn't wait for that day. But then when it came, it's just a change, isn't it? And it's hard to transition. And so yeah, last year I would say because it was everything was a first. You're doing everything for the first time, tax, all that kind of stuff. And it's all new. And so, yeah, it was just a bit like, oh God, okay, what's this now? Whatever. Whereas this year I've gone in and I'm like, right, I kind of know now everything generally in a business sense what's going to happen this year.
mhm.
And I was like really building it up last year, whereas this year it's more of a like maintenance year,
Hmm.
doing things like this that are a bit different and a bit out of my comfort zone. And as you know, because we've tried to do things together in the past and I've kind of gone, I don't think I'm ready for that.
Hmm.
Whereas this year I'm going, let's go, let's just do
Bring it on.
it. And so because of all that, my word for the year is grinding, and that's what I'm really working on. So going back to your original question, coming back to myself, I literally will, you'll often find me down by the river with my feet in. I will go for a walk in the morning before I start the day and just really kind of take in the flowers, the river, whatever. And I'll just have a minute. So like in between each and every treatment, I will do like a little grounding
Mm.
and I exercise for myself. And that's to ensure that whoever's coming in next is not getting any mixed energy from maybe the previous person, from me, if I'm maybe feeling a bit, if maybe I have been a bit rushed or whatever, so I always just try and have a minute to myself. And it really works. Like this grounding thing, it's really, really powerful, I think, because it brings you right out of your head and just like anchors you into the space that you are now. And
Mm.
that's all we've got is that. And
Mm.
so I think it's really, really important.
And even like you're saying, like when you're protecting your energy between clients, all too often it's that kind of rat race where you're like trying to get more and more and more. But when you're taking those intentional practices to
Mm-hmm.
protect yourself and your clients, then that's really powerful as well because
Mm.
you realize the power of it, but also that kind of
Hugely.
duty of care as well, almost.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, I know not around here, but I know that standard practice in various places is like a 15-minute gap in between
Mm.
clients and things like that. And I just think that's nuts because that is, you've got to turn the room around, you've got to clean, you've got to, and so you're just going to be, you know. And so like I do like giving myself that time in between, and then it means I can give my best.
Yeah.
And if people walk into my room and they walk up the stairs and they literally go, oh,
Mm.
I've made it finally. I've been waiting all month for this. And I love that. Like, as soon as they come up, they just know that energy is solid, and it's,
Mm.
I don't know, supportive, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even like as a practitioner myself, it is about you being in the right space, energy, because it is that energy exchange. You're taking on
Mm.
other people's as well as giving them yours. And now that ties me into your Reiki. With
Yeah,
that
go
energy
on.
exchange. Oh, tell me about Reiki. It's something that I have heard of. I've never experienced it. It's
Oh,
something
you'll have
that,
to come in.
yeah,
Come in.
I've never experienced it, but it's something that I don't know enough about it. And I suppose it's a bit like, I suppose like with meditation, I didn't know anything about it before I first experienced it. And then I've now obviously it's my job. So tell me about Reiki. How did that come about? So obviously you spoke about your lotions and potions when you were younger. Where,
Hmm.
where does Reiki come into it?
So it was, again, it was never really something that I considered doing. I didn't really know that much about it myself either. I'm trying to think how I had it. I think I'd had it maybe once.
Mm.
Yes, I had, and I wasn't. It wasn't explained very well to me, and I didn't really kind
Mm.
of get it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started massaging, a lot of people would be like, "Do you do Reiki?" And I was like, "No," and they would tell me about like different sensations that they would have when I was massaging, and they were like, "I feel like you should go and do it," and I was like, "Okay." Again, it's just that like, yeah, I should. Rather than being like, oh no, no, I can't. I was just like, yeah,
Mm.
okay, I'll have a look into it. So the Reiki itself, so we all have an energy field, as you will know. And so especially when you're in like close proximity to somebody, if you're given a Reiki treatment or even a massage, our energy fields are kind of melding, I suppose, there. So that's why you feel really sticky and off around some people and you don't even really know why, because you're maybe just not meshing with them energetically. But the key part is the same as chi,
Mm.
in like Tai Chi, and ki is like life force basically. And so it's like a universal life force that you, as a practitioner, you channel towards someone. So it's not me that's doing anything really. It's you're just a channel, and you kind of balancing it, works along the chakras,
Mhm.
and you're balancing like just the whole energetic body. It is really weird. Like some of the sensations that people feel when they're experiencing Reiki. So you'll find an intense heat, and you can find that that travels kind of around the body, not even maybe where my hands are. Um, they could find a floating sensation, pins and needles.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's just it's moving energy around the body where there may be blockages, and it just kind of it's just balancing, I suppose. And it's super, super relaxing, but also people get visuals.
Mm.
People get really emotional.
Mhm.
They can do.
Mm.
And some people just feel great, well rested after it, So it's a mixed bag, but it can bring things up for people as well. So it's kind of, again, holding that like space for them to experience whatever it is they are without, feeling self-conscious about it, I suppose.
Mm.
Um, but it, I still find it quite hard to explain as a practice. And I've read quite a lot of books about it recently, and that's like literally just to give me like the language, I suppose, to be able
Mm.
to talk about it, because
Mm.
it's not tangible, and so
Yeah.
it's hard. It's not like a massage where you can be like, yes, you will leave here, you will feel relaxed,
Mm.
and your muscles will feel looser. It's it's a lot less tangible, so it's harder to kind of explain, I suppose.
Yeah. But then I read something or seen something recently that it was saying that, how can I put it? It's more like the mystical. The science is backing it up.
It's coming, yeah.
And
It's
it's that.
really coming
And
through.
people who are very analytical science, or which they things that you can't touch or quantify with a, I don't know, an equation,
Hmm.
people just disregard it. But now it's coming back, obviously, like the power of manifestation,
Hmm.
meditation, breath work. It's things that do change your brain chemistry and your physiology. And it's that now, whereas maybe then it might be open to more people, but it's still people are still going to have that interest in it, or that want, or maybe it could be ill health or something that leads them to have a massage that may lead them to something else. So a lot of the time they're waiting for the physical change in their body and their mind before they do something, rather than think of that kind of maintenance and that kind of how we
Yeah.
alleviate that. They wait for something to almost derail them before they look at
No,
alternative.
absolutely. It's that saying, isn't it? If you don't make time for your health, your body will make time for like your illness. So you've got to do that, and the maintenance and the sort of just the habits are the way to go, really, rather than treating things
Mm.
afterwards.
Mm.
Yeah, but and with the Reiki, I think sometimes people just need, I don't know, just some space for themselves with no expectation. So, they don't have to sit and talk about whatever might be on
Mm.
their mind. They just go in, and there is a really lovely safe space there for them. And I think, even if it is just that can be really, really helpful, because you're taking that hour out of your day where there's
Mm.
no expectations.
Yeah. And coming without that expectation. I think that's the same like with people when people come into meditation, you're allowing yourself that space to just
Mhm.
be very present in the moment without being in the rat race, without thinking of this. Just come
Mhm.
come as you are, open yourself up and see what changes, or and not
See
even
what
what changes.
happens.
Yeah, see what happens without that
Yeah.
expectation. I mean, a lot of the time we don't give ourselves time to do that because it's this, and on to the next thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I see it all the time, I mean, not everyone has the ability or, space in their day to, take the whole day after their massage off, that because that ideally that's what you'd want to do. Go home for a nap. That's what I always want to do if I have one.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I see these really busy women coming to me, and they're rushing off to the next thing after the massage, but I'm still like, you've still created that time within that day to do that. And they said that, like, so if someone wears a I mean, they don't wear their fitness watches when they're having their massage, but they've done tests with those, and it'll say like, "Did you sleep for 3 hours?" You know, so that 1 hour is actually, it's so restful, even though you may not. Some people are asleep, but even if you aren't actually asleep, that rest is still it's a really restorative, you know, kind of time for them. And it would be the same with the Reiki as well. You know, it's as good as a good sleep, you know.
And it's the power in that, isn't it? It's that kind of the power in the rest to enable you then to kind of float into the next thing. But just taking that time is such a privilege for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a privilege that not everybody can, because obviously there's a cost implication as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for other people wanting to kind of experience that, what kind of tips have you got for people who can take that time for themselves through that rest, through that restorative practice? What would you suggest that other people could do as like what's
kind of like as an at-home practice?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, you kind of asked me a similar question earlier about what I do. So I would just tell them those kind of things. So like most mornings I try and do like a little 5-minute meditation. I'll just find one on Spotify. And if you've got a bit more time, just really make it lovely. Do you know, like maybe, I don't know, some essential oils, and you know, just really give yourself that kind of time. But there's also self massage. So I will literally sit, in fact I'm sat cross-legged now, and I am sitting massaging the arch of my foot as we're talking. But yeah, so you know, you can do little self massages on your hands or your feet, and even, you know, just around the neck, things like that. But if you add in just a wee bit of essential oil and make more of a ritual out of it, it feels a bit nicer, you know, because I do appreciate that it is a privilege to be able to come and do something like that. And that is something again this year that I'm looking into, doing something that's a bit more. I'm going to try and see if I can get in with some organisations that could benefit from having, you know, like a day of massage a month or something like that. Because that's always like a big goal, is giving back as well. And I think that comes from working in a charity retail background. I kind of want to keep that thread going with my business as well. So, because that's something that I'm very aware of, is that, yeah, not a lot of people are in the position that they can take time in the middle of the day to come for a massage, you know. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that makes it accessible to everybody and in some way or like shape or form, whether that is a form, like you're saying, if you link in with another organization, or what you can do around those kind of rituals, implementing that kind of safe space for yourself so you're able to relax. And
yeah,
and a lot of it is, and I think that's what I try to encourage some of my clients to do, is create that ritual out of their meditation, whether that is creating a nice space with some candles, essential oils, using music that's familiar, just so you can start to wind down, and create that space where then every time you come into it, it kind of adds that kind of relaxation as well. I mentioned that to my students recently,
yeah.
going into their exams. I was like saying, oh yeah, you need to include rest as well as revision on your timetable, but let's make a ritual out of your bedtime so you can start winding down properly.
Oh, that's lovely.
It was like they're looking at me and just saying, yeah, okay. They'll still be
yeah,
up
they're just like
2 o'clock in the morning,
their phone.
cramming before the exam. I'm like, let's start now.
No, that is a great idea though, and I like, it can be something as simple as just sitting down and having a quiet cup of tea. You know, it doesn't have to be like, I do love, Marty always makes me laugh because he says I have to make everything into like a ritual. I can't just, you know, like get a task done and I'm like, no, I need to clean this before, and then I'll light a candle, and he's just like, just do it. But I think, and that's lovely if you've got the time to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't, just simply like sitting and having a wee cup of tea and maybe, yeah, putting a bit of music on or just
Yeah.
sitting in silence, because we're
Yeah.
so overstimulated, all of us these days, that actually like that wee 5 minutes with a cup of tea and just silence in your thoughts.
Yeah.
I know that's some people's worst nightmares, but actually we do need to get back to that to a point. And
Yeah.
I'm as guilty. Like I listen to podcasts day in, day out. So and sometimes I'm like, I just need some
Yeah.
quiet time and some space, you know. And again, that I think that's what people get when they're coming in to me. It's just that hour. They know what to expect, and it is just quiet time and space.
Mm.
Um, but we do listen to some podcasts there as well. So for anyone who can't actually switch off their brain, we can do that for them. And I love those ones because they're a bit different.
Well, some of your clients come in and listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so some people, if they've got ADHD or whatever, and that silence is actually quite jarring for them because the brain's just ticking,
Yeah.
firing off.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just kind of anchors people into where they are. They've got something to concentrate on. It's not for everyone, but for those that it suits, it really suits, and it's brilliant.
And that's good being able to adapt then as well, isn't it? And taking that on board, because a lot of the times, if you were to go into a wellness space, it would be a certain type of music, a certain
Yeah.
type of person. I know you said about, had I seen that you'd wrote something about beige wellness?
Yes.
And to me recently about unpunk your soul, and it was like, it's not beige. I was like, I've seen that somewhere.
You're not beige, don't worry.
A very bit of beige today, but
I'm in brown now, it's not much better, but
yeah, definitely not beige. But it is. It's not that one size fits all, is it? It's adapting what you do. Your clients are all individuals. They've got different
yeah.
needs, different wants, and it's about adapting that to them whilst not losing your own kind of uniqueness as well within
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And
Mm.
I think that's what's really important because, like, while I do say, yeah, the beige kind of wellness industry, it kind of feels a lot of the time quite cookie cutter,
Yes.
you know, and that's just not me. And if I tried to conform to that, I would be miserable and I would just feel like I'm not fitting in. So, like, when I first started this, I was like, is this too niche based on my whole massage business around my love of heavy metal? But then I was like, no, do you know what? Somebody said to me, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Mm.
And that's exactly what's happened because, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't feel comfortable going into that really. Sterile is the wrong word, and I can't think of what the word is, but just that kind of spa setting. And don't get me wrong, love a spa, it's beautiful, but it's I feel like it's more of a treat,
Yeah.
whereas what we're kind of doing is it's more tailored to like my own client base, and they probably get a lot more time and kind of freedom within their hour with me.
Mm.
They can choose their music. I've got a curated set of playlists, but they can choose within that, So I just think we things like that, that's what I would like. And so
Yeah.
I'm just kind of offering what I would love in that experience,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And it is. It's something that, yeah, you are unique in what you offer your clients, but there's also that sense, that personable approach as well. It's not just cookie cutter, like you've said.
Mhm.
It's something that you then can tailor towards that whole experience when they do come in, that they are listened to, they are valued,
Mhm.
and that's important for people to feel like that as well.
Absolutely, yeah, it
Mm.
is. And I think as well, like your music's huge for you as well. So I
Yeah.
think being able to incorporate like that kind of side of it in is really, really important because yeah, it's just a huge part of like I think what we both do, isn't it really?
Yeah. And it is. And like you say, with music for me, it does bring me joy, and it's that kind of passion, it's that uplifting energy. And it's not even a case of always singing and it's not all singing and dancing all the time. But there's a power in that, isn't it? Because if it brings you joy and you are joyful with your interactions with people, then that is that energy that you are bringing to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also for a lot of people it gives us an instant kind of talking point as well. when they first come in, because it is a nerve-wracking thing going in for the first time for like a massage. You don't know what the room's going to be like, you don't know what the practitioner's going to be like, and you don't know, like, oh, how far do I need to get under it, just all of those different things, that really you're in quite a vulnerable position going in for the first
Yeah.
time, so to have something that you can connect with instantly is quite nice, really. So I think it's important to try and like, I just like people feeling as settled and as comfortable as possible as soon as they come in, that kind of way.
So what would you say then? We spoke a little bit about kind of the activities that you use to ground yourself. So in the flip side of that, then what kind of things bring you joy? Like I've spoke about music. What brings you joy?
So the outdoors brings me a lot of joy. We've got a camper van, so we get out in that as much as we possibly can in the summer. And I mean, where we are located in Stone, like, we're so lucky because we're so close to the peaks, which we go to mostly because it's just quite handy, really. And we do quite a lot of festivaling as well. So music in a field is like my number one. Get me outdoors, stick some music on, and I'm happy. So, and just having a dance, and yeah, there's nothing better. We've got 2 coming up this year, so I'm looking forward to those.
See, it's like with festivals, I haven't really done any big music festivals. It's something that I don't know whether it's like lots of people together or that unexpected. Like I think I'm a bit like it's finding that safety within that space, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
no,
that's
absolutely, it is. I think like the festivals that we go to, they're quite nice because they are metal festivals, but again, everyone's already got that like common ground. Whereas I think if you go somewhere like Glastonbury is great, don't get me wrong, but it's huge. I can't even describe how big it is. But there's such a diversity of like musical tastes there that it's almost like you don't all feel as one,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, that does actually when you put it like that.
Yeah, so
There's
there's
so
just
many
this
different
feeling of
things.
like community more so, and I think anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do get that crowd kind of vibe as well. Sometimes you look around and you think, oh God, you just see people like going on forever behind you, and you're like, oh. But if I think about it too much, but I can kind of get past it for the most part.
Yeah. And I think it's finding your people within that, like you said, within like the heavy metal
Yeah,
community, you've got that commonality. And it's finding that it like I like certain music, and I think sometimes I go just for the music, but then I realize that other people aren't necessarily there just for the
yeah,
music.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
that, isn't it?
yeah,
Like you said, you've got to find your tribe and all of that.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, so definitely said the outdoors and music they're my number ones, or
Mm.
number one and two,
Number
either
one
or.
and two. It all fits in though, because even like from your kind of work business persona and then your personal, like you said, it all knits together now, and it's having that kind of commonality between all of it.
Hmm.
So you can just be yourself within that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just easier. It's a lot less exhausting.
Yeah,
You
and it
know?
is because you've just been true to yourself, and you've given yourself permission to feel that and be that,
Yeah,
and that then it's just it's amazing. It's amazing, obviously, from when like and I think we met, was it around the time when you had taken redundancy, where you came to one of my sessions, and I think you were just on the cusp of getting ready
yeah,
to go. Mm,
yeah, yeah. It was because I think I had just opened the space
mhm,
that week
mhm,
that I came to one of your sessions.
mm.
Um, and yeah, I think I was just like all a bit bewildered, and but in a really good way. But I was just kind of thinking, God, like, I can't believe this is happening. I've got to go and do this now. I
Mm,
had no choice in the matter anymore. But yeah, that was a really nice session, actually.
yeah, and it is.
Um,
I suppose it's gaining that clarity. I mean, how would you kind of not necessarily advise, but what have you learned on your journey for whether it's a change of career? What have been your I would say big life lessons, but what have you kind of taken from this part of your journey?
Well, I think going back to kind of what we were saying earlier, and you keep saying the word as well, permission. And I think like I am that kind of person that I wait for permission. And I've realized that actually I can give myself the permission, and like in a really kind of like, roundabout overall way. I hope that people see that, and then that gives other people permission as well, because I know that I was the sort of person that needed it in a roundabout way. And so yeah, if other people see it and kind of go, oh, okay, that can be done. That's cool. So I think, yeah, just that like permission piece. So yeah, nobody else is going to give it to you, so just run with it. But also just doing things, because it's not going to happen otherwise. Because again, if you're waiting for the right time, or just talking yourself out of it because you're unsure, I think you can tell the difference between being unsure because you're not sure if it's the right thing, or if you're unsure because it's through fear. I think you can feel that. And I think if it's just through fear, then you've got to just do it. Which is a lot easier said than done, but I wouldn't have been that person like even 5 years ago, probably. And now I realise that you just do. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, you figure it out as well. And again, I know I'm saying that from like a position of privilege, that I don't have like a family that I need to look after or anything like that, and so I can probably make those decisions like a wee bit lighter than other people maybe. But yeah, I think ultimately there's a way of doing it, and I think it's important, isn't it? I think it's important to just try and do what your weird 15-year-old self would have wanted you to do.
I think that needs to be the motto from this episode. What would the 15-year-old do? And it's far more sass, and far more determination,
Yeah.
and it's going for it, isn't it? And taking those leaps of faith and steps and giving yourself permission. I just think if we did that, I suppose it shouldn't have to come to midlife to do that, but if we have got that kind of space, capacity, and want and desire, then we are pretty unstoppable.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And especially when you're doing something that you've got a real passion for, um, that you really, really believe in, it, it gives you that kind of energy and that fire as well. Whereas maybe when you were doing it for working for someone else, and you might start off with that, but it wanes a bit.
Mm.
And you can also go in so many different directions as well, which is the lovely part. Like I know that it'll probably not look like this exactly
Mm.
in a few years' time.
Mm.
And actually, that doesn't terrify me. I'm kind of going, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what it will be. So,
Yeah, within those realms of possibility,
yeah.
and not limiting yourself, and you've got limitless options and possibilities,
Mhm.
um, and that's part of the fun, isn't
Yeah, absolutely.
it? So what have you got next? So tell us if you've got anything exciting lined up in your future. Obviously you've got your Reiki coming up as well. Anything else that
Yeah,
you're
so
excited about?
hopefully I will be offering Reiki within the next month, actually. So that's coming quite soon. And then we have a little something something lined up, TBC.
Watch your space.
More details to come. And then I suppose my big thing this year is so one of the festivals I was talking about, I am doing a charity bike ride from London to Derby, 270 kilometers in 3 days.
Wow.
Never done anything like it in my life. But yeah, so that's coming up in August. So like for me at the moment, that's my big focus. I'm trying to get my training in, and my fundraising and all the rest of it. So that's my kind of main aim for this year, is staying grounded among this big
Cycling.
mad thing that I'm setting myself out to do.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's good to have these little challenges, whether that's kind of
It
in
is.
business, personal, charity. I just think it's it's something else that kind of leads into that kind of whole soul approach and everything
Yeah.
else, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I've got a small number of charities that I do support every year with the business. And this is the first time I'm doing this particular one, but I'm sure it'll be great. And as you say, like, you learn so much through doing these things, don't you? And it also gives me the motivation to just like stay fit and healthy. I need something to like punish myself with, to like motivate myself to stay consistent at the gym and things. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but all of that only contributes to like me being better at work. I'm looking after my back, I'm looking after my body. So, um, you can really feel the benefits of all of that. So it's just that holistic approach, I suppose, isn't it? One thing really benefits kind of everything. So
Definitely.
that's my main one for this year.
And it is, it's watching this space and seeing how things develop as well, isn't it? And like you said, how your business may look in 2, 3 years' time might be different, but and that's part of how we grow as individuals as much as businesses as well, isn't it? So
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
yeah. I mean, how can people get in touch with you? How's best to contact you?
So the best place to get me is on Instagram. They're just at the Metal Masseuse. You'll also find me on Facebook. And if you are local to Stone, you'll find me in Carla's shop on the high street as well. Best off just messaging, and then we can kind of take it from there. I don't currently have a booking system, but I like having a quick chat with people before we actually book in, just to make sure we're going to be the right fit and things like that. And so, yeah, it is just a case of kind of getting in touch, and we'll have a wee chat before we get going.
And then as we close up this episode, if anybody who's listening is particularly struggling with a certain, whether it's health issue, lifestyle, have you got any tips, hints how people could perhaps manage that or manage stress
People
as
will
well?
laugh at this one. Drink more water for a start. My clients are like, "You're going to tell me to drink more water, aren't you, Maeve?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I just think it's one of the most accessible
Mm,
things that we can do. It doesn't cost any money. So stay hydrated. Everything will thank you. And also just, I don't know, like, acceptance is a huge one, I think. So I think if people are struggling with anything, a lot of the time they try and fight it to begin with, and actually maybe accepting, right, yeah, there is something going on here. Then you can move forward with it. Ignoring it and kind of, you know, fighting it isn't going to get you moving forward. Um, but then, opening up to various different possibilities if you've got that capacity to do so. So, seeing, I don't know, a massage therapist, seeing an osteopath, all of those people who maybe look at things a wee bit more holistically can generally be a bit more enlightening for people. Um, but I think, yeah, just kind of acceptance is a huge one, because then you can move forward without the mental dramas potentially.
mm. Well, that's been great, Ray. Thanks so much for joining us and
No,
sharing
you're so what. Thank
stories.
you.
It's been a pleasure.
You too, Marie. Thank you.